Today, we're jumping into a really powerful piece by Anis Jung called Lost Spring: Stories of Stolen Childhood. Let's just start with a line that cuts right to the heart of it all. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. That single sentence from a child, it just opens up this entire world we're about to explore. A world of survival, of poverty, and believe it or not, these surprising little moments of hope. So yeah, what this is really all about is childhood itself being stolen. We're going to look at how this grinding, crushing weight of poverty, mixed with these traditions that are passed down for generations, basically condemns kids to a life of exploitation before they even really get a chance to live. So, what does lost spring actually mean? Well, it's this incredibly powerful metaphor. I mean, think about it. Spring is all about youth, potential, the bloom of life, right? For the children in these stories, that season just gets tragically cut short, stolen by the brutal realities they have to face every single day. Okay, so let's dive into our first story. I want you to meet a young boy named Saheb. His life pretty much unfolds while he's scrounging for what he and his friends call gold in these huge garbage dumps on the very edge of Delhi. And right away, we hit this profound, almost unbelievable irony. His full name, Saheb-e-Alam, literally translates to Lord of the Universe. And yet, this Lord spends all his time walking barefoot through mountains of trash. The gap between his name and his reality is just staggering. For Sahib's whole community, garbage is everything. But what's really fascinating is that it means something totally different depending on how old you are. For the adults, it's just survival, plain and simple. It's their daily bread, it's the roof over their heads. But for the kids, for them, it's wrapped in wonder. It's like a daily treasure hunt, a place of hope where you might, just might, find a rupee. So this is the world he lives in, Simopuri. It's a settlement right on the edge of Delhi, but honestly, it might as well be miles away. This place is home to about 10,000 rag pickers, living in these makeshift homes of mud and tin. There's no sewage, no drainage, no running water. Here, in what's called a perpetual state of poverty, having food is way more important than having an identity. And then there's this big shift in Saheb's story. He gets a real job at a tea stall. Now, on the surface, this feels like a step up, right? He gets a steady wage, 800 rupees, plus all his meals. That's a kind of security he has never known. But here's the catch, and it's a really important one. That plastic bag he used to carry for rag picking, that was his. He carried it lightly. This new steel canister, though, it belongs to his boss. And the author notes, it seems so much heavier. It's a symbol of this new burden he carries, servitude. And it all leads to this really poignant, heartbreaking conclusion. By getting a wage, Saheb has actually lost his freedom. He's traded that carefree look of a boy searching for treasure for the heavy responsibilities of a job. As the author says, Saheb is no longer his own master. All right, now for our second story. We're going to travel to Firozabad, which is the heart of India's glass-blowing industry, and there we meet a boy named Mukesh. His dream, as the author so beautifully puts it, just looms like a mirage in the dusty streets of his hometown. See, this town is famous for one thing, and one thing only: bangles. Generations of families here are stuck in this profession, making these beautiful glass bangles for the whole country. But it's a trade that is just as dangerous as it is traditional. And the scale of this problem, it's just massive. We're talking about an estimated 20,000 children working illegally in these glass furnaces, basically burning away their daylight hours in conditions that are completely against the law and incredibly harmful. And the hazards they face are just brutal. Think about working in these dingy, tiny rooms with no air, no light, right next to furnaces with scorching temperatures. They're welding glass in the dark with just flickering oil lamps for light. And because of this, so many of them start losing their eyesight before they even become adults. So why? Why does this terrible cycle just keep going? Well, this one quote from Mukesh's grandmother, it gets right to the heart of it. She says it is his karam, his destiny. There's this incredibly powerful, almost fatalistic belief that this is the life they were born into, a God-given lineage that they can never, ever break. But, in the middle of all this resignation, the author spots something different in Mukesh. She sees this little spark, a flash of daring, a dream that completely defies the destiny that everyone else has just accepted for him. And this brings us to the most important contrast between these two boys. On one hand, you have Saheb, who has given up his freedom for a job and is no longer his own master. And on the other, you have Mukesh, who looks the author in the eye and says, I will be a motor mechanic. He is determined to be his own master. So what are the bigger forces going on here? The author, Anis Jung, she kind of zooms out to look at the systems that create these lost springs, what she calls the baggage imposed on the child. And she breaks it down into two different worlds that are basically working together against these kids. First, there's the family's world. They're caught in this web of poverty and the social stigma of their caste. And then there's this vicious circle outside the home, a trap set by middlemen, policemen, bureaucrats, and politicians. Together, they put a weight on these kids that they can't put it down. And that leaves us with this final, really powerful question. When a system is so completely stocked against you, when it forces a burden on you that you literally cannot escape, what does it even mean to dare? What does it mean for a boy like Mukesh to dream of driving a car when all he's ever known is the fire of a furnace? What is the nature of that kind of hope?